Okay, so thank you for organizing this webinar. I'm here today representing FAO as Agrovoc Program Manager, and I have another colleague in the same room today, which is Kristin Kolshus, and she's the Agrovoc Content Curator. It's the person that is leading the day-to-day basis with all the work that CGIAR is doing. So just to brief you a little bit, for those that don't know much about FAO, is a specialized agency of United Nations that leads international efforts to defeat hunger. We are working hard for creating a world without hunger and poverty. We accomplish all these goals by making scientific research and technical knowledge related to all aspects of food and agriculture available and accessible worldwide through a series of initiatives, including Agris and Agrovoc, that we are going to speak about them today, and Agora. Essentially, this accessibility to scientific information is what is helping us to make sure that our FAO members are, let's say, they are using knowledge sharing principles to make or to enhance the development of food and agricultural sciences. Just to introduce you a little bit about Agrovoc, is a multilingual thesaurus. It's covering concepts and terminology under FAO's areas of interest. It's a collaborative effort of 34 organizations from 24 countries. I see that today here in this webinar, there are quite a lot of people coming from our Agrovoc editorial community indeed. And our colleagues in this Agrovoc community are responsible for different language versions and different domains, and all is coordinated by FAO in a way. We are providing essentially the infrastructure to make sure that these thesaurus can provide the services that are required. It's quite huge. We have 42 languages represented. We have more than 1 million terms in all these languages, and this is all about 41,000 concepts. The topic today, which is the collaboration between FAO and CGIAR around Agrovoc, but not only Agrovoc. The main goal for this setting up this collaboration was to make sure that we were increasing interoperability between food and agricultural information systems, making this collaboration possible to important organizations where talking about words that not necessarily usually are on the words of our high-level managers, or also our colleagues, researchers, interoperability, vocabularies for data, etc., etc. So essentially, in practical terms, this collaboration was materialized by the opportunity for CGIAR to suggest new concepts and terms to the FAO-Agrovoc Thesaurus in a kind of a speedy way, in a more direct way. So exactly contacting directly the FAO core, or the FAO-Agrovoc core team behind the thesaurus, and let's say making things a little bit more flexible, creating dialogue, discussions about what concepts can get in, what concepts should not get in, etc., etc. There are lots of mutual benefits. The first of all is Agrovoc, as far as we know, is extensively used by the CGIAR to use as a kind of way of harmonization of content among its repositories. This CGIAR task group on Agrovoc, which Sara and Sara ICARDA will present today, suggest new concepts to Agrovoc based on most used keywords on the CGIAR site. This provides as well very important enrichment to Agrovoc. For us, it's crucial to talk to researchers directly. Our organization is not a research organization. It has a completely different scope. So to have this bridge between us and researchers, a research organization is really important. Since November 2021, we got 442 new concepts from our CGIAR colleagues into Agrovoc. And in order to help CGIAR to understand what is being introduced by this task group, and to kind of feel a way to filter the efforts that CGIAR they are providing, we develop a scheme. I will not go into details, but there's the possibility that the CGIAR can download anytime all the keywords, all the concepts that are meaningful for their information systems as such. This is a selection done by Kristin about what are the most popular concepts suggested by CGIAR from December 2024, is this, I suppose the Kristin is 2023 to 2024. These concepts suggested by CGIAR to Agrovoc trended with quite a lot of access in statistics. I also would like to introduce something about a collaboration between FAO and CGIAR on Agris. For those that don't know much about Agris, it's a comprehensive search engine in food and agricultural scientific literature, providing access to 13.7 million bibliographic records in about 100 different languages. CGIAR has been collaborating with Agris since quite a lot of time. It's nothing new, not in a way that is with Agrovoc, but we thought that it's important to remark a couple of things. So we have several CGIAR centers in Agris already, and we have at the moment about 49,000 records from these centers. Recently, we added some new data providers, particularly the Alliance of Bioversity International and CIAT, and C4ICRAF. And in this year, in 2024, we hope to clean up a little bit more the data that we have, and to be in a position to collect all the data that is suitable for Agris, and CGIAR wants us to integrate into Agris in a kind of more automatic way, so that it's not necessarily anymore that the CG centers, the CGIAR, send to us the data by email. So we can use different protocols. The one that we are currently using is one that is called Open Archives Initiative, which is extensively used, as far as we know, in the open repositories existing in CGIAR. So from FAO's perspective, the collaboration through these two programs is very important. As I said, this is strategic partnership to organizations that are willing to enhance the situation of the interoperability among organizations and entities in the food and agricultural arena is very important for both. And we take this role as a main and important contribution to the community. For Agrovoc, definitely is important to have this open dialogue with CGIAR researchers and domain experts. This enriches very much the vocabulary. We are really thankful. The fact as well is that the provision of this new terminology from CGIAR helps Agrovoc also to get emerging research themes quite more, let's say, quicker than we could probably do, because this dialogue is already open. And we are really, really happy to enhance also the dissemination of the CGIAR scientific production through Agris. We are trying to help as much as we can, and as I said, in 2024, we are aiming to get into Agris available. And said that, thank you so much. I bring the floor to Elizabeth.
Thank you very much, Imma, for this very comprehensive explanation of the collaboration and its importance also from the FAO perspective. I would like just to tell the attendees that you can type your questions or comment in the chat or in the Q&A chat, and we will address the questions after all the presentations. So Next for this presentation is Sara and Asma. So could you please share your screen and talk about the perspective of the collaboration from CGIAR? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Hello, everyone. I am Sara Jani, the Knowledge Management Coordinator from Monitoring, Evaluation and Learning team of ICARDA, together with my colleague Asma Jitani, Data Management Officer. Will be presenting this presentation on benefits and results of the collaboration between FAO, AGROVOC and CGIAR from the CGIAR perspective. Next, please. Yes. The significance of collaborating with FAO was underscored in 2021, and we have provided two quotes to illustrate this point. The first from Ismahan Al-Wafi, who served as chief scientist at FAO at the time, and is currently the CGIAR Executive Managing Director, highlights the importance of collaboration between FAO and expert communities like CGIAR. The second quote is from Andy Jarvis, Deputy Director General Research at Alliance Bioversity CIAT, emphasizing the importance of data resources being able to communicate with one another through ontologies and standards. CGIAR and FAO cooperate to ensure that common standards and approaches are promoted. The presentation is divided into three main parts. I will start with a background of CGIAR-AGROVOC collaboration, then elaborate on the collaboration objectives and benefits, then Asma will present brief update related to CGIAR-AGROVOC curation team. CGIAR and FAO have been collaborating on topics of agriculture, food security, knowledge management, and data exchange for a long time. References to AGROVOC and AGRIS have been appeared in most of ICARDA's official reports. The slide features one of ICARDA's legacy documents, the annual report from 1997, displaying AGROVOC descriptors and references to AGRIS category codes. AGROVOC is widely used within CGIAR, as it is recommended by the CGIAR metadata schema, which recommends using keywords selected from the Agrovoc Thesaurus. AGROVOC is used by all CGIAR repositories and MEL platform as a source of keyword. As per the survey conducted in July 2021 by the Information and Data Management Community of Practice. And there are important contributions from some CGIAR centers to AGROVOC. C4, ICARDA, IFIPRI, and Orth have been active contributors to the Thesaurus by submitting new concepts. Also, ICARDA provides the translation from English to Arabic of AGROVOC concepts. In 2021, a task group was formed within the CGIAR Ontology Working Group of the Information and Data Management Community of Practice. The International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, IITA, and the Alliance of Bioversity International and the International Center for Tropical Agriculture, CIAT, co-chair this group. The goal of task group is to define the importance of AGROVOC for CGIAR data publishing, the benefits of CGIAR contributing to AGROVOC, and how to organize CGIAR's contribution in a coherent workflow. The task group produced two knowledge products, a report summarizing main recommendations and a fact sheet available on CG Space. The plan of the task group included identifying and testing the CGIAR concept submission workflow. To achieve this, the task group suggested creating a curation team, which ICARDA now chairs. Furthermore, the task group defined the objectives of the collaboration framework between CGIAR and FAO-AGROVOC. The collaboration framework developed between CGIAR and the FAO have been translated into actual work on the ground. We have divided these objectives into three groups: general objectives, task group objectives, and curation team objectives. In this presentation, we will focus on the benefits of this collaboration with a particular emphasis on these objectives. Moving to the general objectives, the first one is to support the indexing activity. Agrovoc is the largest open thesaurus in the agricultural sector, and its impact is through providing the access and visibility of data across domains and languages. Agrovoc uses semantic web technologies linking to other multilingual knowledge organization systems and building bridges between datasets. The use of Agrovoc keywords increases the visibility and access of CGIAR publications, which could lead to a higher number of people reading the publications and more citations. On this slide, we show a few examples of how Agrovoc keywords are used for the indexing of publications from CG Space and WordFish, as well as DSpace and Dataverse, where in these two cases, keywords matched with Agrovoc have a live link to Agrovoc. Second objective is the importance of keyword-based search performed in CGIAR repositories. Here we can see two examples of searches by Agrovoc subject or keyword within two CGIAR repositories, CG Space on the left and DSpace on the right. Regarding the FAIR score, as per the CGIAR Open and Fair Data Assets Policy, data assets shall be managed in compliance with the FAIR data principles. As Agrovoc follows the FAIR principles, the use of the thesaurus benefits and strengthens the repository's alignment with FAIR principles. The CGIAR results dashboard displays the FAIR scores of knowledge products in CG Space, where the usage of Agrovoc improves the interoperability score. A second graphic displays the most common Agrovoc keywords used in CGIAR knowledge products. These keywords are harvested and checked live with Agrovoc using the MQuap tool, monitoring, evaluation, and learning quality assurance processor. The collaboration framework objectives from the task group perspectives are to remain a key player in the international community effort to develop semantics, particularly in the Agrovoc editing community. Enhance the stewardship role of CGIAR in the development of semantics for agri-food, and develop the capacity of CGIAR data managers to maintain quality metadata describing research outputs. And finally, to reduce the maintenance cost of a CGIAR specific multilingual vocabulary. Moving to the collaboration framework objectives with a focus on the curation team objectives. First, to get a more streamlined submission from CGIAR. Following defined work processes within the curation team helped with simplifying the submission process, making the activity more consistent and avoiding the submissions of the same concept by different centers. The second objective is to improve Agrovoc content cover with CGIAR terms and concept definitions. That will help the selection of the keywords, and this supports CGIAR data assets indexing. Third, to leverage a team of domain experts. The trainings and frequent joint meetings between CGIAR, FAO-AGROVOC improve the ability of the curation team and others to submit concepts, provide better definitions, and communicate with researchers on the importance of enriching their knowledge products with Agrovoc concepts. Finally, the collaboration provides global visibility of CGIAR's contribution to Agrovoc, reflecting CGIAR research. The One CGIAR subschema was created in Agrovoc to provide an online visualization of the concepts submitted by CGIAR centers. This slide includes key points on why Agrovoc is important to scientists. Agrovoc is a resource for high-quality standardized terminology. This can help researchers convey their work accurately and facilitate communications within the scientific community. The use of keywords indexed with Agrovoc improves findability. This can increase the number of people reading the data assets and is likely to lead to more citations. Agrovoc is essential for searching. It helps in finding resources related to research topics. And it is also helpful in identifying emerging trends and gaps in keyword usage within the agricultural field, which can guide future research directions and funding opportunities. That's from my side. Moving now to Asma to give us an update on CGIAR Agrovoc creation team work. Thank you.
Thank you, Sara. The slides includes the brief updates about the team. As mentioned before, the CGIAR Agrovoc curation team was created in 2021, and today we have representatives from 11 CGIAR centers. There are now 442 concepts and terms that were added to the Agrovoc CGIAR's Cosmos. We are mainly following two work processes. One of them is the submission of keywords directly by each center, and the other one is supported by our colleague Alan Orth from ILRI, which is about the provision of a group of keywords extracted from CG Space for us to be able to submit to Agrovoc. We are regularly holding team meetings to present updates and to discuss any new suggestions. And there are also trainings that are held when needed. This is mostly about the submission of new concepts and definition. Also, when new members want to join the team, ICARDA does a brief training to introduce the activity. Recently, Agrovoc, they launched a new online suggestion form, which has been incorporated into our workflow, as you can see on the slide. This new workflow facilitated the communication as well as the workflow of the team. Thank you, Sara. Back to you.
Thank you, Asma. This is all from our side. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Asma and Sara. This was a very nice presentation about the work performed by the CGIAR data management teams. Very nice. So I will give the floor now to Alan. You have some applause. I think I hope we have some questions or comments. Alan, are you ready to share?
Yeah, we do questions and comments after, I guess.
Yeah,
Let
exactly.
me share my screen. I hope you can see it. Let me know if you can see it. Yeah, okay. So thank you for that, Sara and Asma. I think there'll be a little bit of overlap here. Part of this was presented in a meeting with the FAO-AGROVOC annual meeting about 6 months ago. And so I've updated some stuff here, but I wanted to share it again with the ontologies community of practice because it's interesting. So I prepared it with my colleague Abinet, who is also in the audience. So if we have any questions, she might be able to help us. For those of you who don't know, CG Space is a large institutional repository that we founded in 2009 at ILRI. So my background is in computer science and systems administration, and one of my tasks is managing this large repository, which is an open source platform that's based on the DSpace software. Currently, we have around 115,000 unique items here. And this covers several decades of CGIAR research, not just for ILRI, but for CG centers, programs, and partners. And our main vocabulary that we use is Agrovoc because naturally it's multilingual and it's geared towards agricultural knowledge. So it was a natural fit for us. And my talk will be a little bit more technical because that's my background. So here you can see this is the first way we use Agrovoc. It's, like I said, one of the controlled vocabularies we use. And during item submission, we have a static list of the top 1,400 terms that Agrovoc terms that we have in the repository. And we do a few times a year, we update this. We'll get to the reasons for why we do this later. But basically, we try to help people pick Agrovoc terms, but they can also enter free text terms if they don't find the term that they want in there. And this is on the submission form on CGSpace. The second way we're using Agrovoc is via a live link to the REST API, which in programmatic terms means you can programmatically do autocomplete when you're typing in. So this is a screenshot here from the system called MEL, which is managed by actually Sara and Asma's team at ICARDA. So when we're submitting knowledge products here, into this system, we describe the work that we're submitting, and we start typing gender or livestock or cattle or whatever, and it's auto-completing from Agrovoc's REST API. So this works really well if you have a custom system that you can integrate with REST APIs, external REST APIs. Another way that I'm using this is a screenshot. I don't know the backgrounds of the people in the audience, but basically, like I said, I'm a computer scientist and a system admin. So of course I run Linux and I use a lot of Python, and so this is one of the other ways we use Agrovoc is to programmatically validate, because we have, of course, in any system you have outliers and you have mistakes and you have things you have to normalize. So we use the REST API, the Agrovoc REST API, to automatically validate terms by the tens of thousands. And I think for Kristin and Imma, I can say that I cache. So if I have to run this more than once within a few weeks, I cache the response so that I don't hit the server too hard. You can see in yellow, those are cached. This is a Python script that I use when I'm doing batch validation of terms. And the last way we use this is, part of this you saw in Sara's presentation, but it will come to no surprise to people that we want to make dashboards and we want to show, we want to allow visualization and exploration of our research and our outputs. So dashboards are great for that. You can have all kinds of, word clouds and searching and faceting. And right now it's a bit naive. I'll talk about that more later, but there are things we could do in the future. 10 or 20 years ago, no one thought we were going to be, or no one knew we would have all this generative AI stuff. And so one of our roles in building a international public goods like repositories and all of these digital outputs is to make sure we capture metadata accurately and to describe things in a rich way, because in 10 years, you never know how it's going to be used. So this is, again, this is a dashboard that's showing clusters of Agrovoc subject terms. And to give you kind of the scope of our terminologies, or the breadth of our subject terms in our repository, we have a total of over 27,000 unique subject terms. And there's a caveat there that's not just Agrovoc. That's covering, for example, we have some specific ILRI taxonomies, and different centers have different taxonomies where they describe things that are important to them for their corporate website and for their research and for those kind of things. So what I did was I took all of these unique subject terms and I looked them up against Agrovoc, and I was surprised to find we have 13,000 that match exactly, which is about 47%. And as with any system, I've said a few times, this is a bit of a naive integration. So in our large repository, we have a lot of technical concerns there, and we haven't moved beyond a kind of the naive implementation. So we need to keep working with all of our submitters so that they enter Agrovoc terms properly and they enter them accurately. And you can see we're not using RDF yet, so we're not using any of this linked open data or kind of, let's say, multilingual aspects of it or broader concepts, narrower concepts. It's a very naive usage that we have currently. And the other one, which will be instantly recognizable to anyone who actually manages a system, we have a lot of problems with punctuation, that is diacritics and plurals and multilingual things. So you can see on the left, we have the CGSpace term that's in our large repository CGSpace. And then on the right, we have the actual Agrovoc term that it should be. And of course, there's missing an accent missing on the O. There's a dash missing in the compound adjective there above ground biomass. Or I don't know which one is the correct one. I think the Agrovoc one doesn't have a dash. But you get the point. So these kind of things they're common in any system where users are entering. So it's kind of like, I see it a bit like gardening. You have to kind of water and weed, and it takes a little bit of love and care, and it takes curation. So it's a never-ending process. And so this is just to say that we have this Agrovoc collaboration with the FAO and CGIAR, and that's basically what Sara and Asma were talking about. And I don't know how many, if I have another minute or so, I can. So I had prepared a survey that I gave to my editors last year, and it was interesting to see how they were using Agrovoc and their knowledge about repository systems in general and ontologies and Agrovoc in specific. So here you can see we have a lot of editors who have been using repositories for over 5 years. And most of them say they're familiar with Agrovoc, which is a good sign. That's a success. And to find more about the usage, I asked them how they use it, and they said that they mostly search for keywords in English, and 1/3 said they look in other languages. I think those other languages are mostly Spanish and French. I don't really see Arabic in there, or Georgian or Vietnamese or Amharic, really, but one day maybe. So that's basically it. Thank you, and back to you, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Thanks, Alan. I think the three presentations were really well fitted together, and it's really proven that the collaboration is useful on both sides, which is great. And obviously, there is a need to promote better that contribution, and also to get better organized in continuing this collaboration. I don't see any questions or comments, so I may let people think a little bit about any question or comment. I see that Laura said, thanks, Alan. Always remember from you the importance of metadata correctness. So apparently, Alan, you are kind of a reference to remind people that metadata should be correct. In fact, I have a question for you, Alan, myself. Is you mentioned the 47% of increased exact match to Agrovoc. Is this in your, I should put my camera as well, sorry. Is this, in your opinion, a contribution of this collaboration that results in a better use of Agrovoc, or it's just because now you have better also automatism or automatic matching? What is your feeling about this increase?
It's hard to say. I think let's schedule another webinar every year for the next 10 years, and then we get a progress update.
Progress, exactly.
But I think we've gotten, so I'm not a librarian, I'm not an ontologist, I'm a computer scientist, I'm a sysadmin, and I do a lot of data management. So when I came into this in 2009, I didn't really know what Agrovoc was. I didn't know, I didn't appreciate it, but we've gotten more mature at our usage of it for sure. And of course, the uptake of CG Space has just skyrocketed in the last decade. So we're really building an incredible repository there, and there's a really rich body of work inside there. And there's always potential. I'm always, this stuff with LLMs and trying to enrich and capture more to describe our outputs and then build other tools on top of it. It's incredible potential. So it's hard to say. You'd be surprised how many of those missing S, in Agrovoc, it's beans with an S if it's countable. And, Kristin always tries to tell us how, these things work. But it's hard to say. But I hope that we see that number go up in the future.
At least it's very encouraging for all the collaboration and the solutions that are put in place by the MEL team also on CGIAR and the Agrovoc team as well, because they are trying to simplify the way we submit terms. So I think it's a very good move. And I would really like to promote even better this work than just the webinar. So probably we have to think all together how we could push better all the work that has been done into the CGIAR mega program, and also have a dialogue with FAO, with the Agrovoc editorial board, and see how we can really improve. And indeed, engaging with some generative AI solutions is a prospective work we should start, because it may help. And I know that Imma has some concern about also how to manage multilingual vocabularies, and would have some expectation, I think, Imma, that some natural language processing or machine learning tools could help with that, isn't it?
Well, no, it's more about probably we need to think about how to maintain coherence along the translations that we have in Agrovoc, based on this concept model that we use. For us, Agrovoc is multilingual, but the backbone is in English. And so sometimes I find myself that probably this is a kind of not full understanding along the community, but we cannot maintain one single vocabulary in such amount of languages, essentially because the structure doesn't allow us. Not so much going to the new technologies, but making sure that we can use translations in a more let's say in a more sustainable way, because at the moment Agrovoc should be fully translated into at least the 6 FAO official languages. This is our goal for this year. And after that, probably some of the challenges that we are facing to play with the concept model and the challenges in terms of homonymia, and also some other aspects about words that probably don't exist in other languages, etc. So to understand how we can face this, to make sure that we cannot be providing a solution for 100% of the problems around there, but we should find a kind of agreement.
Yeah.
This is what the vocabulary is about, is to agree in certain elements that are around the vocabulary among the key stakeholders. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Imma. I see that Ram had a comment about vector databases created to support Elasticsearch and CG Space might also be interesting to compare with Agrovoc Thesaurus. They could be used to further enrich Agrovoc. So I suppose the comment is for Alan behind, because is this something you would like to elaborate on, Ram, if you can open your mic? I don't know if you can. If I can do for that for you. Ram?
I could see using, so I could talk probably to Ram's point. I could see using, you know, machine learning and new kind of neural networks, and I'm just looking at Kristin's comment. Sorry. To, let's say, to use LLMs or whatever kind of machine learning to unearth new concepts. You know, basically to do what we're doing in our manual process that can feed back into, you know, I don't want to, well, we want to make sure that it's high quality and that they are legitimate like concepts. But yeah, you could probably do what we do with our surfacing new concepts and feeding them back to Agrovoc. I think we could do that. We're looking for interesting projects to do on AI and LLMs and machine learning, and we have vast quantities of open access data and publications and gray matter and formally published stuff. So maybe something there, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, thank you, Alan. Ram, yeah, I can't unmute anybody, so I'm sorry to say that you have to, I can't see how to open mic for people, so you will have to type your questions. I'm sorry for that.
I have a question for Alan.
Yeah,
Just,
please do.
because I never had the chance to ask you, Alan. Are you making any use of the alternative labels in Agrovoc to compare them with probably proposals that researchers do? Or is there any way that you are using more all the richness of Agrovoc also to, I don't know, any thought about, so what you are using? The preferred label, I know, clearly, and in the multilinguality. But this is also something that we never discussed, not even extensively. So we never discussed about what is the part of Agrovoc that could be more useful, particularly for CG space, or if is there anything that we can do to facilitate to I don't know, to use other aspects of Agrovoc for such a rich repository as yours. Robert.
Yeah, so like I said, our implementation is very naive. I'm almost embarrassed. It's, you know, we're just slowly capturing these subject keywords. But I think there, you know, there was an attempt over 10 years ago, you'll remember, to integrate Agrovoc properly in DSpace, which is an open source platform. It's the most popular institutional repository on the planet and has a vibrant community, and you can sponsor work there. So I think maybe tighter integration with DSpace is still kind of the holy grail. Currently, we're just matching any alternative label, preferred label. It's very naive, and we're not using anything. I mean, I'm also spread thin, and I think everyone's spread thin. So if we in CGIAR are serious, we could make this someone's TORs or hire more capacity, and we really try to enhance capacity in the repository ecosystem and maybe contribute some stuff back.
Okay, no, I know that there is a company that is doing this kind of work. Maybe I can share this information afterwards with you. But also, yeah, no, definitely, I think that there is some room to discuss about possible improvements from this side with us. Yeah.
Thank you. So I couldn't still find a way to give the floor to anybody. I don't know, Ram, I see your hand is raised, and I don't know if it was for a new question or you still wanted to elaborate on your comment. No, it's okay. And Abenet had a comment saying that if Agrovoc could be integrated with CG Space, it would be a big win. After, we have to understand what means integrated, because Agrovoc is a huge piece of work, but probably improving the connections and I would say a selection of terms on the fly, I suppose.
Yeah, if I can mention something about that. We know we are now having kind of discussion in the Agrovoc team about other ways that we can offer the content of Agrovoc for systems that probably for them is not so easy to integrate our current infrastructure in. And so it would be, I think it would be very useful, Alan, if you could join us on the 17th of April. We are having a technical retreat in FAO. You could join us online, so we could see if there is any kind of facility that we could offer in that direction. Maybe, I don't know, something, yeah, that facilitates this integration. I understand that this space is not easy on that side, but maybe there is something that we could do in the meantime.
Yeah, I think it's a good suggestion, Imma. So Abenet said that she knows that we have been trying for the past many years to find a way to integrate Agrovoc with this space. And Alan says that that you have for Agrovoc REST API and the SOAP web services. So it's also something that facilitates the online use, I think. But it was too much difficult to use. And Alan is willing to participate. I'm speaking on your behalf, Alan, but you can open your mic at any time. Okay, good. So okay, so we have a date where to discuss this further. Any other comments from the colleagues who are connected? Because I see some colleagues are, of course, from the Agrovoc editorial board. Others are from the MEL community. Others are even from the curation team that was involved. So if you have any comments or you want to share a suggestion, please do. I think that what's also had should have a big impact for CGIAR to better use Agrovoc and promote its use in the repositories is also the creation of the dashboard. It's really a visualization of the data, and without a good harmonized vocabulary, it's more difficult to have a very neat visualization of our outputs. So I think we should also really insist on that, how to make the dashboard even more efficient and easily searchable. And this was stressed by Sara, Asma, and Alan. So I think it's a very useful application case of our annotation using Agrovoc. Anything you would like to add, Sara and Asma?
Nothing from my side, but just I want to mention that all this dashboard work is related to MQAP tool, which is a new tool integrated with PRMS reporting. And there are, I think I'm not the one who is doing all this work. There is a huge team behind it. But I think that there will be a new enhancements coming to this, and you will see all soon the new changes, including maybe better visualization for Agrovoc. That's from my side. Thank you.
And I think it makes us also realize those three presentations about all the curation work that is behind, in fact, the visualization of data, because as we said, you need very good metadata, but you also need very good keywords to feed the metadata schemas. And then all the work you've been doing since 21 as a curation team, and with the great collaboration of Imma and Kristin and also Andrea, I see Andrea is connected. I think it was really valuable, and it will help those tools to deliver better. So we really have to enhance that, because most of the time the curation is a step, very important step in data management that is not really put forward in discussions or where people think about supporting a system, but it's really a key step. It's the human-based step. It's not yet AI, and it's really important because it's a way of highlighting probably mistakes we didn't find, and it's a way of enriching the vocabulary, because we have also to highlight that the terms are there, but the definitions also are very important. And the definition at the moment is a very big work you're doing to extract it. And Kristin is also providing support to find the proper definition and to see if the definition in Agrovoc is matching our definition. So it's not only typos, it's not only about selecting the proper term, but it's also selecting terms based on their definition to make sure that the term you select is really reflecting what is in your data set or in your citation for bibliography record. So this is an important thing to say, I would say.
Yes,
yes. Yeah. And perhaps your message, I would say, Sara, all of you, in fact, would be to use that webinar to call and engage more colleagues, at least in CGIAR, probably also from partners institutions. But so what would be your next step for engaging more of our data managers in the work?
This question for me, Elizabeth?
Yeah, you, Asma.
Okay. For me and Asma, we are trying our best. I think we did a good advancement this year by attracting the attention for other CGIAR centers. Now, many centers has joined. We are now like 7. We have 11 centers in the curation team. It's like, let me not be like very optimistic. It's like baby steps, step by step. But whatever we have done up till now, it's a good enhancement. Also, with the great help of Elizabeth. Thanks a lot, Elizabeth, for great help from Kristin and
Yeah.
Elizabeth as well. Thanks a lot, Kristin, for your enormous help to us. She helps us in how to find the definition. She helps us always. She is ready to support us whenever we have an issue with like a concept, and she is always in the meetings guiding us. So for now, the next step is like to use the online form. Is a bit like a lot of people may be reluctant to start this new approach, but I really encourage all the curation team who is here to start using the online form because it is easier than what we used as process. So let us see. We don't know, Elizabeth. Let us see, like after maybe another 3 months, how the things will be and how we will be improved better. That's from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Sara. Yeah, I think it's important because the team has grown organically, I would say. Now you have 11 centers, which is great. It means that the process is really there. But perhaps we need to have more formal best practices promoted into the CGIAR data management strategy once we have one which is official. But that would be something to add and make sure it is there. And I know that the director of data and digital program, Rudhode, she thought important to share the webinar with the mega program writing team, and I'm sure she will be very interested to hear about the work achieved, because now with all the, I would say, the enhancement of the semantics for publishing data, like in dashboard visualization, in using AI, all the semantics is, I think, getting more and more attention. And the work you've been doing will be a cornerstone to that, I'm sure. And I've been also coordinating the ontology community of practice and several projects, and we still have to find ways of adding more granularity to Agrovoc in using the ontologies our group has been developing. But this has to be also planned in the data management steps. How do we connect all those semantically valuable efforts? Imma, you would like to have a concluding word about your expectation about this collaboration, or any next steps you would see?
Well, from FAO's side, we are extremely happy of this collaboration and that this collaboration continues. I would also encourage people to look at what we have that might need to be revised. This is also something very important. This is a huge vocabulary, and in many cases, it might be that there are things that are not easy to find or whatsoever. Now we are developing an easier interface that will be much more focusing on finding concepts and without such amount of information as Cosmos has, hoping that this is going to make the whole thing a little bit more agile. And from FAO's side, we hope to have the whole translations, all the 6 official languages, FAO's languages, translated within this year. And I hope that this might help a lot because of the multilinguality that exists as well in CGIAR. Some of the languages that are used in FAO as main languages are also main languages in CGIAR, indeed. So once we have achieved that, perhaps it's easier then to grow and to make sure that this multilinguality that we were saying is maintained, at least for these languages. And that's it. I think it's a win-win situation here because it's putting researchers and not only metadata experts from your side, taxonomists, ontologists with us, which is more focusing on providing services and the semantic layer. So I think that is a perfect team, in my humble opinion, and I really hope that we are going to continue working like that. And that's it. Nothing more to add. Thank you so much to everybody.